Good morning, boys and girls. For today's ELA lesson, I will be sharing with you a lesson focused on phonics and our decodable reader. The learning objective for today is students will be able to find and read words with the double O sounds in a shared reader and a decodable reader. Let's read our shared reader first. Today, we are going to read a story called Field Trip Funds. So the story is a realistic fiction story, which means it's not true, but it could happen. I want us to look at our title and look at our pictures, and let's make a prediction. What do you think our story, Field Trip Funds, is about? I'll give you some time to make your prediction. I hope you guys made some really great predictions, and I'll share with you the prediction I made about the story. I predict that the story is about a class, a group of kids, finding ways that they could sell goods or services to raise money to go on a field trip. And I got that from looking at the pictures, especially them walking dogs, and this jar of money. It looks like they're saving it, just like some of us might have our own jar or piggy bank where we put money to save. Now I'm going to read our story. Please listen and follow along. Field Trip Funds. Mr. Soto's class was planning a trip to the zoo. They needed to earn money to pay for the trip. Some kids wanted to have a book sale at school. They could sell their old books. A book sale would be pretty easy. Other kids wanted to walk dogs to make money. They knew lots of people in the neighborhood who had dogs. Walking dogs sounded like a job everyone would enjoy. The class voted, and the dogs won. Now that I read our story, I want you to think, was your prediction correct? Was my prediction correct? I would say that mine was, because like I said, this class was thinking of ways that they could sell goods, like the books, and services, like dog walking, in order to raise money to go on a field trip. So my prediction was correct. And now, having that in mind, what I want to do is go to our shared reading book because we're going to annotate the story looking for parts of the story that talks about goods and services. This is what our shared reading book looks like. If you have the book, please take it out and follow along. Today, we're going to be working on pages 10 and 11 to annotate our story Field Trip Funds. I'm going to play our story, and as you listen, I want you to look for information that tells us what goods and services the class sells. Listen as I play the story.
Field Trip Funds. Mr. Soto's class was planning a trip to the zoo. They needed to earn money to pay for the trip. Some kids wanted to have a book sale at school. They could sell their old books. A book sale would be pretty easy. Other kids wanted to walk dogs to make money. They knew lots of people in the neighborhood who had dogs. Walking dogs sounded like a job everyone would enjoy. The class voted, and the dogs won.
Now let's annotate a story looking for goods and services. For this, I'm going to use two different colors, one color to underline goods and one color to underline services so we can tell the difference between the two. If I look at our third sentence here, some kids wanted to have a book sale at school. That tells me a type of service that the students want to have in order to raise money. So I'm going to underline the words book sale. Now that I underlined the words book sale, I'm going to look at the next sentence, sentence 4. They could sell their old books. That the words old books tell me what kind of goods will be at the book sale. So I'm going to underline old books in another color. Now I'm going to look at page 11 for another type of service or goods that the students decide to sell to earn money for their field trip. The next page says, other kids wanted to walk dogs to make money. So that sentence tells me another service that these students will provide. They're going to walk dogs to raise money for their field trip. Now I'm going to underline that the same color that I did book sales, which is blue, because those two are services that the students provide in order to raise money. So in our story, the students try to raise money to go on a field trip to the zoo, and they provide two different types of services. They wanted to have a book sale, and they wanted to walk dogs. For the book sale, they were going to sell their own old books, which are goods. But in the end, their dog walking service won, and that's how they were able to raise money for their field trip. Now that we're done annotating in our shared reader, let's move on to our decodable reader. Today, we're going to be reading a story called A Room for Moose by Kate Cochran, illustrated by Nicola Anderson. Listen as I read this story to you. A Room for Moose. It was a cool day. Owl stood by his bookshop. Hoot, hoot! It is a special day, Owl hooted. Soon Sheep joined Owl. I made this with my wool, said Sheep. Owl took a look. It is a good gift. Kangaroo hopped by with his big broom. I must wash the windows. I must sweep by noon. Goose scooted out of her coop. I cooked some good food. I will make a sign for the roof, too. We must be done by noon, said Sheep. We have wood, said Goose. Who has the tools? Owl does. They worked hard and were done by noon. Then they waited. Clip, clop, clip, clop. He's here, said Owl. Welcome, Moose. We made a room for you. Moose looked. Thanks, he said. It's the best room for a moose. Here are some words that have the double O sounds. We have bookshop, broom, cooked, cool, coop, food, good, goose, hoot, kangaroo, look, moose, noon, roof, room, scooted, soon, stood, two, took, tool, wood, wool. Now that I read our story and you listen, let's do an echo read. Please repeat after me. A room for moose. It was a cool day. Owl stood by his bookshop. Hoot, hoot! It is a special day. Owl hooted. Soon sheep joined Owl. I made this with my wool, said Sheep. Owl took a look. It is a good gift. Kangaroo hopped by with his big broom. I must wash the windows. I must sweep by noon. Goose scooted out of her coop. I cooked some good food. I will make a sign for the roof too. We must be done by noon, said Sheep. We have wood, said Goose. Who has the tools? Owl does. They worked hard and were done by noon. Then they waited. Clip, clop, clip, clop. He's here, said Owl. Welcome, Moose. We have made a room for you. Moose looked. Thanks, he said. It's the best room for a moose. Awesome job reading with me. Now let's go into our activity. I would like for you to please answer the following questions about our Decodable Reader. Write incomplete sentences. Our questions are: what kinds of goods do the animals sell? What do the other animals do for Moose? And how does the moose feel at the end of the story? How do you know? When you're done, please take a picture of your work and submit it on your portfolio. I hope you guys have a great day. Bye.